Hello and welcome to our channel, A Body Like Bruce. First, a thank you and a big shout out to all who have subscribed to us, and also those who just came, checked us out and went on their merry way, as you have helped our channel grow immensely. We are truly grateful to all of you. Today we are presenting you this video about what we think and recommend as the best ever book about Bruce Lee by the author John Little, because it has the common biography or life on Bruce Lee as other books on Bruce Lee do, and we tend to skip because we already know most of that information, but we think it's way better than all the rest because it's put together in a style that gives you the impression that Bruce Lee is doing all the talking. So we recommend you watch this video in its entirety and read the pages as you go through the video, as if you are actually sitting down with Bruce. He's right next to you and he's reading it to you. So let's have a look inside this book. The most extraordinary martial artist of our time, Bruce Lee, the celebrated life of the Golden Dragon, based on the award-winning documentary Bruce Lee in His Own Words. Never before published family photos, including rare pictures from Bruce Lee's childhood in Hong Kong, behind the scenes at Bruce's movies, edited by John Little, prefaced by Shannon Lee Kessler. It's probably the lady that accompanies Bruce Lee's daughter Shannon Lee on her podcasts, and there's a foreword by his ex-wife, his widow, Linda Lee Cadwell. Good, you go have a look at the back page. The celebrated life of Bruce Lee in His Own Words, illustrated with rare family photographs and stills from his movies and television appearances. That's why I really like this book. We recommend it. To refuse to be cast down, that is the lesson. Walk on and see a new view. Walk on and see the birds fly. Walk on and leave behind all things that would dam up the inlet of experience. Bruce Lee. In the pages of Bruce Lee, the celebrated life of the Golden Dragon, we invite you to examine the real Bruce Lee, the man behind the image, the man who was so much more than an international film and martial arts superstar. In a brilliantly assembled photographic essay compiled and edited by John Little, this history of the life and career of Bruce Lee covers Bruce from childhood to international stardom, from the charismatic public persona to the quiet family man, with a preface by Shannon Lee Kessler and a foreword by Linda Lee Cadwell. The text is drawn directly from Bruce Lee's own words, as recorded in his diaries and journals, as well as from interviews and the documentary Bruce Lee in His Own Words. Here's a quote by Bruce Lee: "I did what I wanted to do. What I've done with sincerity, and to the best of my ability. You can't expect much more from life." There he is with his son Brandon Lee when he was little or young, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the original footage of The Game of Death. Bruce Lee, the celebrated life of the Golden Dragon. Contents page. Preface. Inspiration, the father. The term martial art can be troubling. I know that I have given it some thought over the years. How is it art? When one thinks of art, the usual images come to mind: paintings and sculptures. As a matter of fact, when you look up the definition of art in the dictionary, the first expositions are just these. There are references to music, literature, drawing, and on a more simplified plane, there is mention of the aesthetically pleasing arrangements of words, colours, sounds, shapes, and the like. Further definitions of art go on to describe it as forms of human activity whose chief character is determined by a meaningful arrangement of elements, and any system of rules and principles that facilitate skilled human accomplishment, and so forth. And it talks about Bruce Lee was an artist in the true sense of the word. In his 32 years on the planet, he produced volumes of writing on a multitude of subjects. He developed his own systems of martial art. He acted in, choreographed, directed and wrote for film and television. He was a Cha-Cha champion of Hong Kong, and he was a father, a husband, a friend and a teacher. This is a tall order for anyone, and certainly we all have our own pursuits, but in an appreciation of all this accomplishment, we can become inspired. And all he accomplished, Bruce Lee accomplished, directly influenced and culminated in his understanding of his art and ultimately himself. This book is the literary realization of the documentary Bruce Lee in his own words. The film is a beautiful collage of statement and example. It's an amazing thing for word and deed to walk so gracefully hand in hand. It was the authors of this particular person, Shannon Lee Kessler. It was her sincere hope that in this medium, with this book, you the reader can be touched imperceptibly, if not dramatically, by the beauty of a life truly lived and sculpted, ever a work in progress. Here in these pages is an originator, and as you will see, adventuring into the realm of individual thought, the originator brings us closer to the commonplace, the individual closer to us all. Bruce Lee said, "I want to think of myself as a human being." It sounds so simple, and truly it is. And maybe in striving for the simple thing first and foremost, he shows us the path of our individual journey. Oh, okay, it's Shannon Lee. It's his daughter Shannon. That must be a married name. Kessler. Growing up as Bruce Lee's daughter, Shannon states she had often been daunted by the example set forth for her to follow, but as she grew older, she found a greater understanding of the dedication of but a man and the necessity for her to do but one thing, follow the path of her own journey and live in the flow of life's streams. That's what her father would have wanted her. There's a foreword about Bruce by Linda Lee. A great many years had passed since her husband Bruce died in 1973. At first her devastation was complete. Had it not been for the two small products of their union, Brandon and Shannon, the wound may have consumed her. But the wheel of life continues its relentless turning, and in the next 2 decades their children grew strong, happy and competent to encounter the world. Bruce's memory enlarged her heart and enabled her to find a rich and rewarding life. It had been a long time, However, since she recalled Bruce's voice, his laugh, his expressions, his gestures, the very real Bruce that she knew and loved. In John Little's brilliant piece, Bruce Lee, in his own words, her Bruce is vividly alive again, almost as if he is in the room, so real that she could imagine he was actually speaking to her. That's what we stated earlier in this video. It'd be like you're sitting with Bruce Lee and he's like talking to you. As she watched the film of Bruce, the man, not the actor, tears came to her eyes and she was transported back to that time when their lives were full of dreams coming true. Listening to Bruce express himself honestly and openly about his beloved philosophy of martial arts, his acting career, his family, his future, was for a few minutes like nothing had ever changed. But of course, on July 20, 1973, with Bruce's death, change did happen. What you are fortunate to see of Bruce in the film and in this related volume is the essence of Bruce, and then there was no more. A few years ago, their son Brandon left to join his father. He died accidentally, or was in an accident, and with his tragic passing, there is but one child left to carry on. But they are not alone. However, for the last 25 years, Bruce's legacy has endured, and their memories have been enriched by the stories of how Bruce's art and philosophy have influenced the lives of so many all around the world. Chief among those who have enriched Linda and Shannon's lives is John Little, who as a historian and chronicler of Bruce's work has adopted Bruce's passion as his own. In projects such as the film in this book, John has caused the legacy to grow and thrive, and thus has allowed Bruce's work to create positive change in the lives of many more who may not have been exposed to Bruce earlier. Different generation, right? But they're coming to know Bruce Lee, series of movies, etc. For John, the writer, The temptation may have been great to interpret or expound upon Bruce's words, but for John the philosopher, it took restraint and ultimately respect for Bruce to let Bruce speak for himself. The family is grateful to John Little for his soulful presentation of Bruce. It's been a very long time, and they all rejoice in seeing Bruce as they knew him once again. Linda Lee Caldwell. Introduction. It's probably from John Little. Bruce Lee believed that we can communicate with each other fully only when we honestly express ourselves. And with this counsel foremost, it was obvious to the author that the best way to communicate the essence of Bruce Lee, the human being, was to fashion for him a platform from which he could forthrightly express himself. That is to say, the best way to make a film or book about Bruce Lee was to simply get out of his way and allow him to make it. Bruce Lee is his own best ambassador, and hearing from him directly, speaking on issues that were significant to him, is far more substantive and meaningful than going a typical documentary route of simply having a bunch of talking heads sputtering away decades after the fact about what he was like. A chronology of the life of Bruce Lee. This is the usual stuff you'd find in all the other books. It's the early years. This is his childhood, from birth to his teen years. Most people have read this time and time again in other books, so we won't go deep into that. But as you can see here, it's like Bruce Lee is speaking to you. Remember, you could slow down the video, pause the video, and read these excerpts within the book. Here's some advice from Bruce. He didn't believe in pure luck. Most artists were going to Hong Kong thinking that they could make a movie and get lucky like Bruce Lee. He states here he didn't believe in pure luck. You have to create your own luck. You have to be aware of the opportunities around you and take advantage of them. Some guys may not believe it, but Bruce Lee spent hours perfecting whatever he did. So there's some advice for you. If you see an opportunity and it's all legit, grab it. It doesn't hurt another person, take advantage of another person. But if you see an opportunity, go for it. Don't be afraid, it'll pass you by. Grasp it with both hands. Utilize it. There is a difference between self-actualization and self-image actualization. I know we all admit that we are intelligent beings, yet I, Bruce Lee, wonder how many of us have gone through some sort of self-inquiries and or self-examining of all these ready-made facts or truths that are crammed down our throats ever since we acquired the capacity and sensibility to learn. There's a lot of stuff shoved down your throats from your parents as first teachers, your family, friends, neighbours, your education system, institutes, religion, and so forth. So you got to sift through it all, figure out what's the truth for you. Okay, there's a lot of false truths. People say this is the truth, this is the gospel truth, when it isn't actually. Because they've got some sort of hidden motive or agenda. They're propagandists, so you've got to sift through it, figure out what is true for you, what works for you. True seeing and sense of choiceless awareness leads to new discovery, and discovery is one of the means to uncover our potentiality. However, when these same eyes are used in observing or discovering other people's faults, we are quick with readily equipped condemnation, for it is easy to criticise and break down the spirit of others, but to know yourself takes a lifetime. Though we possess a pair of eyes, most of us do not really see in the true sense of the word. Most people only live for their image. That is why where some have a starting point, most people have a void because they are so busy projecting themselves as this or that, wasting, dissipating all their energy in projection and conjuring up a facade. It's like a mask or a pretense, rather than centering our energy on expanding and broadening their potential, or expressing and relaying this unified energy for efficient communication, etc. When another human being sees a self-actualizing person walk past, he cannot help but say, "Hey, now there is someone real." In the movie Enter the Dragon, he tried to present a sort of spiritual and physical expression of a dedicated artistic athlete, who in this case happens to be a Chinese martial artist, as set apart from the ordinary because he can deliver and communicates with the audience and is capable to get across to the audience that which is considered the ultimate value of a martial artist, which Bruce Lee would apply with the total sum of his level of understanding and experience. The important thing is that I am personally satisfied with my work. If it is a piece of junk, I will only regret it. The past is history and only the future can give you happiness, so everybody must prepare for their future and create their own future. Famous quote by Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Looks very muscled up there, but very underweight. Apparently he was working too hard, etc., etc. Here's a secret to dealing with people, right? Say maybe on your YouTube channel someone comes at you with a silly or really nasty uncalled for remark. If the enemy or someone is cool, stay cooler than him. If the enemy move faster than him. So basically what we're saying is, if someone comes at you with the nasty remark, stay cool. Yeah. Be cool. Don't lose it, because that's what they're pushing you to do. To react. Maybe they have some issues, maybe they have some problems. They really need someone to talk to. Or they really need help, to control their mouth or their outbursts, etc. Don't take it to heart. Of note, this guy here, Lau, supposedly went on to create Scooby-Doo. This is quite interesting. Learning gained is learning lost. The knowledge and skill you have achieved after all means to be forgotten, so you can float in emptiness without obstruction and comfortably. Learning is important, but do not become its slave. Above all, do not harbour anything external and superfluous. The mind is the primary. One can never be the master of technical knowledge unless all his psychic hindrances are removed, and he can keep the mind in a state of emptiness, fluidity, even purged of whatever technique he has obtained with no conscious effort. So that's the art of fighting without fighting, having no mind as mind, no limit as limitation, etc., etc., no limit as limit, and so forth. All his philosophy. So it just happens, right? You don't have to think about it. It's like when he said in Enter the Dragon, I do not hit, and clenched his fist and said, it hits all by itself. So it's automatic, you don't have to think about it. It should just flow. Happen. It should just flow. And there's information on what Jeet Kune Do as a martial art is really all about. Jackie Chan, who was a stuntman on the set, quite a lot of his films. Apparently this guy knew 37 martial arts. He was a master of 37 martial arts. The guy who played Han. Here it is, here's that saying. And when there is an opportunity, I do not hit, it hits all by itself. So, he's talking about automatic response. Don't have to think about it. Long leg of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Imagine getting kicked with a leg that long. and centre. Chuck Norris, very hairy in those days. Later films, you see he's furless. His family life, she was quite pretty. Oh, Brendan when he was a little fella. How cute. He started young, obviously. And this is advice on marriage. Marriage is a friendship, a partnership based solidly upon ordinary everyday occurrences. Marriage is breakfast in the morning, work during the day, the husband had his work, the wife had hers, dinner at night and quiet evenings together, talking, reading or watching television, communicating, right? Relating to each other, you know? Coming to an understanding of each other, an agreement, you know? Having a one mind, like a mind, right? Being in union. And Bruce Lee states about Linda that she was carrying. Very hippie. It's these kind of blankets they put out today, they've redone them and sold them as, I don't know, plushies or something like that. Can't remember what the name of it is. Actually, did it again? Okay. Happy family. Look, at the beach. It's into it. Here, Bruce Lee stated, Brandon takes after me. He is full of energy, always running around and never sitting still for a minute. It looks like Shannon. Yeah, Shannon comes into the picture. Obviously, he really loved and treated his kids. A Great Dane. Bruce Lee quote, I will play and joke with my children, but business is business. When the subject is a serious one, you don't go around trying to keep from hurting feelings. You say what must be said and set the rules which must be set without worrying about whether they like it or not. Here he is with his mum, Grace, and Brandon. At the beach, getting a tan. We used to have this mat. We found it on the side of the road, but it got so tatty and torn we had to throw it away. It was like step by step physical fitness. Our one was black, this one's grey by the look of it. Yeah, it was a good mat. Here's the entire family again. They're just a bit older. Epilogue. Bruce Lee in his own words, the documentary film. Like the wind before him, like the warrior he came, but his time would be short and soon to be gone, but his legacy remains. Bruce's untimely passing or death left a void that to this day remains unfilled. As an actor, martial artist, philosopher and family man, he had the power to heal, to inspire, to motivate and to make this world a better place. This was the legacy he left us. Bruce Lee was the real thing. So what they mean by heal is, you know, like you had a upset, who was it, Taki Kimura, Japanese intern, maybe in one of those American camps, had low confidence, etc. Bruce Lee pulled him up by his strings, and says, come on man, you know, yeah, made him a better man, etc. And Taki Kimura appreciated it. One of the remarkable achievements of Bruce Lee, in his own words, is that the viewer leaves the documentary with a certain feeling of privilege, the privilege of knowing the real Bruce Lee and not just Bruce Lee, the legend. John Little has succeeded in separating the fact from the myth, and as a result we enjoy Bruce Lee and his person. Culminating in a visual montage of rare moments with friends and family, the film works on many levels, both emotionally and intellectually, and with a style that is uniquely its own. So we suggest go and find this on YouTube or those movie sites if you can. Bruce Lee in his own words by John Little. We recall watching it and we really enjoyed it, so hopefully you will too. So that's the book, Bruce Lee, The Celebrated Life of the Golden Dragon. In our video review of it. We hope that you enjoyed it immensely. If you did, then please subscribe to us, give us a like, add your comments below the video, and we'll get back to you on those as soon as possible. And then share this video with all your family, friends, etc. who are die-hard Bruce Lee fans. We thank you for taking the time to watch this particular video.